This is a walkthrough for the game Timeloop, Sink Again Beach. This will include full video here on YouTube, as well as full text guide via Steam. It showcases options for both the good and bad ending, as well as all achievements, and a short explanation of controls and game mechanics. As well as this, I will try to be explaining why each step is needed for the comprehensive story, rather than taking speedrun shortcuts. Finally, given the nature of how this game plays, there are multiple paths to completion, continuity errors notwithstanding. This guide is simply the order that seemed to come the most natural to me. If you are seeking a simple sort of straight-to-the-point, too-long-didn't-read instruction on where each certain item is located, when to find it, and what it is exactly for in the order of game completion, an item glossary will be located at the very end section. Ahoy! I'm Scurvy Banana, and I make video guides, walkthroughs, reviews, and commentate on all the pirate and similarly themed games that I can find. I'd like to thank all the support I've been getting lately in the form of likes, comments, and subs. I'm very excited to be coming up on that first 100 subscriber account milestone. A deepest thanks from the very bottom of my cup of grog. Disclaimer, from this point onward, you'll start to see spoilers. If you do not wish to have this game spoiled for you, please stop here and play it yourself. Now, this game doesn't offer a tutorial, but it's relatively simple to understand and control if you've ever played another first-person game. WASD movement, mouse look, and shift to run. After you end up finding the torch, it toggles with the F key. Besides that, you've got an inventory menu with tab and the E button to interact with objects in the world. Finally, to end up skipping the cinematics, you can hold the F key. It will skip them in the form of fast-forwarding them. Fast-forwarding cinematics versus outright skipping them might seem a bit droll, however, it is a purposeful design choice that complements the main mechanic and theme of the game, time travel. Once you've gathered the correct two artifacts, you are able to move forward and backward in time at any of the teleport altars located around the island, with the caveat that the space-time continuum breaks if you end up running into your past or future self. This means that per each time travel, another separate copy of you will be running around the island.
The encounter could create a time paradox, the results of which could cause a chain reaction that would unravel the very fabric of the space-time continuum and destroy the entire universe.
The potential difficulty raises the longer you take and the more time travel you perform. Furthermore, each altar allows one use per time frame and 4 different points of the day to travel to: morning, midday, evening, and night. While this game is pretty small and you're likely to get yourself unlost by simply wandering around, I still decided to go ahead and make this very crude map for those out there who might still be directionally disinclined. First things first, I implore you to at least try to play through the title alone. An unassisted run of the entire game generally only takes a few hours. Using this guide verbatim cuts the time down to roughly something under a single hour, though you'll miss the satisfaction of figuring out the puzzles yourself. The game begins with a long cutscene as Harvey paddles Jack to the Isle of Death. Jack is coming here to dump his friend Donald's ashes from the Black Cliff. During this scene, Harvey hands off a compass and explains he always returns for his lost lover, Penny. Harvey dumps you off at the dock before turning tail to take his next trip, and suddenly he gets blasted by a cannonball. Jack becomes stranded.
What was that? It seems like Harvey went to feed the fish. How am I going to get out of here now?
First order of business. Looking to the bottom left side of the screen presents our current goal: scatter Donald's ashes at the Black Cliff. The black cliff is located up a path behind the church, but we cannot dump the ashes unless it's evening time and someone with credentials is helping with the ceremony. While backtracking to search for someone to help, we can stop at the market behind the church. If we look around the stalls a bit, you can find and pick up a meat cleaver. The church is perhaps a better place to look for someone to help with funerary services. However, instead of finding the priest in the back library room, we meet a woman with big, giant, perfectly round and beautiful black eyeballs. Her name is Ruth, and she exchanges some confusing words about how right Jack was and then rewards him with a clock for some reason. Since the priest seems to be out, we can take a stroll round the island until we find him shortly down the path from the church sunbathing near the beach bar. We can give him a chat, but he's unconvinced to help with the ashes until we've absolved our sins. Hint: priest mentions how thirsty he is. At this point, Jack can try to search the beach bar for something for the priest to drink, however there is no bartender. We can deduce that since bars are a staple activity of what is collectively called a nightlife, perhaps a bartender will arrive later. Let's figure out this time loop thing.
Not just a pile of rocks. And what's that?
I recommend using the teleport altar tucked behind the church beside the market. However, there are many around the island. We'll need to remember which ones we've used for each time period, as each altar can only be used a single time per period, as well as start watching out for Jack's double selves. The sun has fallen and some techno music light show is booming at the beach bar. Turns out the crone is the functioning bartender, but won't make us a drink until we return her cleaver. She can make a non-alcoholic coconut cocktail, and she needs the tool to be able to pop it open. Good thing we found it whilst poking around the market earlier today. Granted, we found this by exploring. A hint is presented if you go to the marketplace in the morning time, in which case the crone is there poking around as well.
Oh, okay.
We can return to morning to bring Priest his beverage. Oops, he's busy doing a sermon at the church in the mornings. If we sit here long enough and listen, we can get the Confess achievement. Since we've already used the time skip, let's go ahead and explore a bit before going back to midday and giving Priest the cocktail. We can visit the dock and talk to Harvey, who at this point hasn't met us yet. Once again, he's long-winded. After speaking with Harvey, we can go toward the right of the dock and find a treasure map at the gallows. Investigating it in our inventory shows an X near the cemetery. We'll continue roaming around, perhaps following our newly found treasure map, and find some strange tree in the distance. Going there to investigate, we'll find the ghost of Harvey's lost lover, Penny. She'll give some more background on their story and disclose that she is keeping an eye on a witch whose name is Melanoia. From the ghost tree, you should be able to see the cemetery in the distance, or infer its location from the treasure map. We can arrive there to find Ruth, the archaeologist, doing a little bit of grave robbing. Now this time, Jack tells her confusing things. Once the conversation ends, she'll drop a master key. This is actually just a lockpick. Oh yeah, our treasure map led us here. The X is indicated outside the fence, off on the beach. We need a shovel. Luckily, a certain grave robber seems to have left theirs with the coffins. Digging up the X presents a chest with a captain's hat in it, which also grants the achievement, Become a Captain. At this point, Jack can find an altar and return to midday in order to provide the thirsty religious man with a nice, refreshing coconut drink. We'll visit one of the altars in the jungle. On our way back toward the beach, we might organically encounter the witch house or investigate via the ghost's tip. It contains a magic spell scroll, which is used for the good ending, and also a locked treasure chest. Since we have Ruth's dropped master key, we can go through the lockpicking minigame and get the life preserver that can be used later. The context provided in-game never really hints or points us here for this, but through natural exploration and trial and error, you'll end up here regardless. Also, when you leave, Melanoia appears and magically smacks Jack in the nuts. This bit can also be completed at a different midday. However, if you didn't immediately investigate the cannon shot that killed Harvey, you can do it now. You might have noticed a small bit of smoke in the air straight north of the docks, as it can visible from not only the dock, but the beach bar and the church and the witch's house, etc. Go up the trail straight off the beach that starts with the stone archway. There's a small cliff with some cannons. Also a voodoo dude up here named Herman. You can have a chat with Herman, and he'll tell you that he shot the cannon for reasons. Also, he'll make mention of a sort of cross-shaped key and perhaps a secret hiding spot in the church.
How do we get out of here now?
Return to the evening and go back up to the Black Cliffs, maybe dodging your earlier self. Priest is up here and requires you to vaguely be safe while completing the funerary rites. It's a bit vague, but the icon for this quest step is a life preserver, and luckily we happened to find that earlier at the witch house in her treasure chest. A giant Big Lebowski referential cutscene happens and we fall into the ocean. Luckily, Herman appears and saves us. Since we are on the beach now, it should be easy to spot the body of Harvey, who after getting cannonballed has washed ashore. Investigating the corpse reveals Harvey's cross in the sand. Earlier, Herman told us about a secret stash room in the church with some sort of metal cross key. Go there and retrieve the torch. You can now press F to turn the torch on and off. As this is our first evening, we are likely to explore the map a bit. Jack will take notice of someone at the top of the lighthouse. However, when we arrive there, the ladder is missing, disabling us from inquiring upon who exactly is taking vantage of the land. At night, if you decide to visit the abandoned house while exploring, a note will be taped to the door indicating it is for sale by owner, and the owner is on the bridge. Herman will be chillin' on top of the bridge overlooking the ghosts. If we speak with him, Jack ends up receiving the key to the abandoned house. Inside the house, we can retrieve the ladder. As prompted in the first evening, someone is at the top of the lighthouse. Now that we have the ladder from the abandoned building Herman gave us the key to, we can see who it is. And it's Ruth. She talks about a corrupt monk's hidden treasure in the cave that's set in the distance up the mountain and framed between the church and the sunset. She also lets us know that the door up this mountain pass is really a push-to-open door, despite being labeled as a pull-to-open door. Jack notes that it is almost nighttime, and the cave is likely dangerous, but his words are disregarded by Ruth, who seems to revel in the darkness. On our way over to the cave, we can make a short pit stop in the only section of island we haven't explicitly explored in this guide yet. This brings us to the ritual circle. There's a bag of strange powder here, which can be pocketed and later used to maintain the good ending of the game. Now, Jack's mention of it nearly being night was a cue to blast ourselves into the future again. For the good ending, we can return to the ritual circle using the magic spell scroll from the witch house to unlock the gate. A cutscene will occur where Jack tosses the strange powder into the cauldron, ruining the witch's ritual. For the bad ending, skip this step. Continue onwards to the gates labeled pole. These are tucked away a bit behind the church. Climb up the mountain. The cave entrance will be revealed in the darkness. Use your torch and crawl through the corridors. Ruth is at the bottom and lets you keep a piece of the treasure. You find one that looks suspiciously like a certain amulet Harvey and Penny kept talking about.
Wherever I go, I meet you.
After returning to the time of sunrise, wait until your past selves have finished speaking with Harvey at the dock, and then give him the shark tooth amulet. As a show of gratitude, he'll agree to take you home, and also later in the midday future bring your past self back, thus making the story come full circle. Congratulations, you have completed the game. In order to complete every available achievement, you will be required to play through this game twice, as there are 2 sets of achievements that cannot be completed in tandem during a single playthrough. Good and bad endings. This depends on whether or not you stop the witch's ceremony at the end of the game. Further details within the end portion of this guide. Own Grandpa and No Damage. Own Grandpa gets completed if you see yourself and get the game over screen. Conversely, No Damage is for a full playthrough of the game without running into yourself and getting a game over. Confess. This one can be completed at any morning time period section. Simply hang out in the church and listen to the priest's pop culture-filled sermons until it pops. Become a captain. There is a small bit of gallows and pillory with skeletons around up a hill to the right side of the dock, opposite the church side. Find the table there and take the map. The map shows an X outside of the cemetery fence. A shovel is located within this cemetery. Finding the correct spot will prompt the option to dig, revealing a treasure chest with a captain hat in it, thus granting the achievement. Move in time. This one should simply happen once you've time traveled the first time. It's pretty much impossible to miss. This is a quick list and explanation of where and when to find each item, as well as exactly what its intended purpose is in the order that I obtained them throughout this guide. Compass. Harvey gives this to you during the opening cinematic. It is combined with the clock in order to time travel at the teleport altars. Clock. Ruth gives this to you during midday when you visit her in the church library. It is combined with the compass to time teleport at travel altars. Cleaver. This is found at the market in any time frame. It is given to Crone during the nighttime party at the beach bar in exchange for a coconut cocktail drink. Cocktail. This coconut drink is exchanged for a cleaver with the crone at the night beach bar party. It is given to the priest at midday in order for him to dedicate time in the evening to oversee the funerary rites of Donald's ashes at the Black Cliffs. Treasure map. This is found on a table at the gallows. It shows the location to a treasure chest, which contains Captain Hat. Master Key. Ruth drops this in the cemetery during the morning. It is used to unlock the treasure chest within the witch's house that contains Life Preserver. Shovel. Somebody has been digging up graves in the cemetery and has left this there. It is required to dig up the chest located on the treasure map and will present you with Captain Hat. Captain Hat. It is in the chest as per treasure map location. Requires the shovel from the cemetery. Captain Hat exists to give the achievement Become a Captain. Spell Scroll. Located in the witch's house and accessible at midday, it is needed to unlock the gate to the ritual circle during the nighttime in order to ruin Melanoia's ritual, granting the good game ending. Life Preserver. Located in the locked chest within the witch's house during midday. To unlock the chest, you must have the master key that Ruth drops in the cemetery during the morning, and complete a short lockpicking minigame. Harvey's Cross. During the evening or night, the corpse of Harvey washes ashore near the dock. The cross is located in the sand and is used to unlock the secret stash room of the church, which contains torch. Torch. You'll need this to light up the hidden treasure cave to obtain Sharktooth Amulet. It is dark in there at night. Abandoned House Key. At night, Herman stands on the bridge and watches the ghosts of Penny and Harvey. He also hands off this key to Jack. It unlocks the door to the abandoned house, which houses the ladder. Ladder. Located in Herman's locked and abandoned house. Used to climb the lighthouse during the evening. Sharktooth Amulet. Ruth lets you keep this after you make it to the very bottom of the hidden treasure cave. It is given to Harvey in the morning to complete the game. Thanks for viewing. If you have any recommendations on piratey type of games you'd like me to provide guides and or reviews or just general commentary on, you can go ahead and leave that in a comment. Thanks! Since you've stuck around this far, you get a secret monkey fact. Emperor tamarins stick out their tongues to indicate displeasure, much like a grumpy child.